In a picturesque village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a young boy named Ethan. He was known for his insatiable curiosity and boundless energy, always eager to explore the world around him. One sunny morning, Ethan's teacher, Mrs. Anderson, decided to take her students on a field trip to a nearby forest. They gathered in excitement, their backpacks filled with snacks, notebooks, and a sense of adventure. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the path became rugged and challenging. Roots crisscrossed the trail, and thick underbrush obscured their way. Ethan, ever the inquisitive one, was undeterred. He blazed ahead, leaping over obstacles and forging his own path. Mrs. Anderson, however, called out, "Ethan, wait! We must stay together as a group." Ethan reluctantly slowed down, but his eyes sparkled with excitement. He couldn't resist the allure of the unknown. They hiked for hours, the forest growing denser around them. Eventually, they reached a steep and rocky slope. Ethan was eager to ascend, but Mrs. Anderson cautioned, "Be careful, Ethan. Climbing this hill will be tough. It might even be impossible for us." Undaunted, Ethan started to climb. He scrambled up the rocks with determination, while the rest of the class watched in disbelief. It was a Herculean effort, but Ethan's tenacity knew no bounds. Finally, panting and perspiring, Ethan reached the summit. He looked down at his classmates, triumphant. Mrs. Anderson, while impressed by his determination, had a more profound lesson in mind. "Come down, Ethan," she called. "I want to share a story with you." Ethan descended the rocky slope and joined his classmates, ready to hear what Mrs. Anderson had to say. Mrs. Anderson began, "You see, Ethan, life is full of obstacles, just like the rugged path we've traveled today. Each obstacle may seem daunting and insurmountable, but they serve a purpose." She continued, "Consider the eagle, one of nature's most magnificent creatures. When an eagle's young ones are ready to learn to fly, the mother eagle pushes them out of the nest. They plummet towards the ground, but just before they hit, the mother swoops down and catches them. This process is repeated until the young eagles learn to fly on their own." Ethan listened intently, his curiosity piqued. Mrs. Anderson went on, "Obstacles in life are like those moments when the young eagles are pushed from the nest. They may seem frightening and overwhelming, but they are opportunities for growth, learning, and ultimately for soaring to new heights." Ethan nodded, beginning to understand the lesson. Mrs. Anderson concluded, "So, Ethan, while it's essential to be curious and determined, it's equally vital to recognize the value of obstacles in our lives. They shape us, challenge us, and make us stronger. Embrace them as opportunities to spread your wings and soar, just like the eagle." As the class continued their journey through the forest, Ethan looked at the obstacles differently. He understood that they weren't roadblocks, but stepping stones on his path to success. Years passed, and Ethan grew into a wise and resilient young man. He faced numerous challenges in life, but he always remembered the lesson from that fateful day in the forest. With each obstacle, he saw an opportunity to grow, learn, and, ultimately, to soar like the eagle. And so, the boy who once charged ahead learned that life's obstacles weren't barriers to be avoided, but experiences to be embraced, for they were the very things that allowed him to reach new heights.